Ever wondered what's lurking behind the idyllic landscapes of Tamworth, New South Wales? A town that promises simplicity, familiarity, and a serene walk through the pages of community living. Think again, because beneath its quaint surface lies a chilling narrative of deceit, betrayal, and systemic corruption, intricately entwined with the very souls entrusted with our protection. Buckle up, because what you are about to hear will make you question everything you thought you knew about not just Tamworth, but communities across Australia. Let us start at the center of the magnifying glass. Imagine a mayor, Colin Murray, a man tasked not just with steering the ship of the town, but with safeguarding it. During a trip to China in August 2017, a journey officially flagged for industrial progress, Mayor Murray, allegedly, did not just bring back economic opportunities for Tamworth. Instead, what he brought back was the blueprint of misdeeds, criminal activities, intentional interference with legitimate business, anti-competitive trade practices. His handshake in China reportedly sabotaged Australian businesses back home. Contracts were breached, partnerships dismantled, and millions of dollars slipped from thriving economic engines into shadowy realms. And who benefited? Well, certainly not the citizens of Tamworth. This orchestrated chaos was not executed in isolation. Joining the strings was Paul Bennett, general manager at Tamworth Regional Council. Letters carrying the weight of authority were sent to businesses and investors, assuring them that success was a step away, only for these agreements to be abruptly terminated. Want to know the kicker? A council asset worth millions of dollars, a prize won through a fair expression of interest, was mysteriously given away for free. Just let that sink in for a moment. But Murray's story doesn't merely end here. With threads linking him to Barnaby Joyce and Kevin Anderson, figures that should be synonymous with policy and advancement. The rot deepens. These political giants stood accused of not just fostering Murray's alleged transgressions, but building a network where corruption thrived without restraint. From misallocating water licenses to using financial institutions as laundering machines for over $210 million. These activities were not merely oversight. This was organized crime at its most unrelenting. Implications didn't stop at Tamworth's borders. They crossed oceans to international territories, tainting Australia's image globally. And it gets worse. The crown jewel of Tamworth's future, Dungowan Dam, was not just deprived of its potential, but became a symbol of inefficiency and decay. Imagine a site capable of generating 500 megawatts of renewable electricity. Its dream was held hostage by paperwork soaked in corruption. The town still struggles under the weight of this theft of potential. Dreams siphoned away like the water the dam was meant to store. This is not just about infrastructure. Let's pivot towards humanity. Lives destroyed and communities eroded. When businesses invested themselves into Tamworth, bringing world-class opportunities, little did they expect to be met with chains of defamation, violence, and sabotage. woven tightly by law enforcement and council authorities. Picture this: a globally acclaimed businessman dedicates himself to turning Tamworth into an employment haven. 27,000 new jobs, billions in shared prosperity. It was no pipe dream. It was a blueprint validated by actions. Yet those who should have leaned in to help destroyed him from within, reducing Tamworth's golden years to ash. Employees in his businesses became pawns for hidden agendas used to perpetuate crimes, while the very police sworn to maintain order enabled the chaos. The collusion doesn't stop at their borders. What happens when the judiciary, the ultimate gatekeeper of justice, turns a blind eye? When the gavel falls not on the guilty, but on those daring to expose the truth. Tamworth's courts, along with prosecutors and magistrates across the nation, became the stage where corruption acted out its most grandiose scenes. An organized criminal enterprise operating under the state's approval, a protection racket for the chosen few, and a nightmarish trap for those subjected to their whims. The crimes aren't discreet. They're reported far and wide. Property theft, falsified charges, the intimidation of witnesses, and even, disturbingly, international human trafficking operations. This isn't fiction. It's real life. Every act deemed too unethical or inhumane is sitting comfortably under the umbrella of government legislation designed not to protect citizens, but to reinforce profits at any cost. Tax dollars lining the pockets of strategically chosen operatives. Collusion blazing through local councils all the way to the parliamentary level. Tamworth isn't an anomaly. It's a reflection of systemic collapse. Energy stolen, resources mismanaged, and education systems decimated. The foundation of a thriving community relies on the development of its people. Yet how can people develop in a region riddled with barriers designed specifically to ensure failure? Infrastructure remains stagnant, public health is steadily declining, and basic utilities are no longer guaranteed fundamentals. This isn't simply neglect. As evidence emerges, it reveals an intentional strategy aimed at profiteering from our shared suffering. Those who dare to resist are crushed, not just financially, but physically. But this is bigger than Tamworth. It's a clarion call about the pitfalls of unchecked governance. The Australian nation, its people, its values, and its future are all tethered precariously to these events. When law enforcement becomes a drug syndicate, legal systems turn into kangaroo courts, and politicians start resembling mob bosses in suits. How far has the mighty fallen? Amidst glaring injustices, however, sparks of resistance shine faintly. Individuals who refuse to let their voices be drowned have begun their uphill battles. Activists, whistleblowers, and ordinary citizens looking to reclaim what has been stolen. Their bravery could mark a turning point, but we must ask, the scale of plunder and moral erosion is unprecedented. How much time do we have left? Will exposing the rot help, or merely scratch the surface? As we take a closer look at Tamworth's microcosm of corruption, it proves one truth. Unless we address the systemic breakdown, what hope remains? serves not as despair, but as a reminder that all it takes is one voice joined by many to dismantle those leveraging power as a weapon. Don't just listen, act, investigate.